Alright, hello everybody, this is Magic. I'm going to be casting some more ButteryLlama games, and it looks like he spawned as our purple Zerg player at the top left-hand position here. And it is Typhon Peak, so the map is quite large. But first, we do have DoNtGiVeUp playing as our blue Terran player, spawning at the top right position here. And while it is Zerg against Terran, it's quite a matchup. You know, it's a very fast-paced matchup. I'd actually say it's the most fast-paced matchup. So in Zerg against Zerg, there is a moment of, you know, in some cases there's a moment of, okay, I can sit back and just macro up and whatnot, and it's hard for it to reach the late game when you actually have a lot of stuff to do. Whereas this matchup gets to the late game pretty often, and it's that, I mean, because Terran is able to, you know, do a lot with his wall, just defending, able to get up a lot of tech, you know, and pushing it towards the late game, and turtle up, getting an expansion and whatnot. And so it's hard for Zerg to really push in there and punish him for anything. And you know, and at the same time, you know, if Zerg is able to deal with, you know, barracks play or with Hellions and you know, whatever Terran has to offer, then it goes to the late game. And I mean, it's I don't know, it's just there's a lot to do for both sides. I mean, Terran has a lot of macro, Zerg has a lot of macro, Terran has a lot of micro, Zerg has a lot of micro. And I think a lot of players actually don't see the micro in Zerg. They feel like, okay, just one Ain. And in some cases you kind of have to, because you are kind of dealing with a lot of things. But at the same time, it's like surrounding, stuff like that. It does take time to do that. You know, it's not an easy thing to do. It is micro. I wouldn't consider it the same type of micro as Terran, where you're trying to kite all day long and set up tanks properly and all that stuff. But I'd still consider it micro. I'd still consider it quite hard to do, splitting up banelings and all that. So I don't know, we'll see what happens this game. It looks like ButteryLlama going ahead, getting that expansion first with that hatchery, throwing down a pool right on 15, and we'll see when he puts up a gas. Generally speaking, when you get the hatchery and the pool, especially against Terran, you don't really need the gas right away. And if you get the gas, I mean, and you keep building drones constantly, you can't really afford to get like an Overlord and 2 sets of Queens and constantly produce drones and the speed all at the same time. You can't do it. So I do like the fact that you delayed the gas, so you can get the gas a little bit later, you know, while the pool is pretty much at halfway finished, and then you can put 3 guys in it safely while still being able to get up a bunch of stuff. Meanwhile, back at Terran camp, it looks like he's going to go Reaper. He does have that tech lab on there, Reaper popping out now. He does have the refinery going as well. I believe the time for this is you get the refinery just slightly before the barracks, or maybe at the same time. So you can get that tech lab up right away. Otherwise, you can crank out a Marine to defend and pick off a drone so it doesn't scout your Reaper, and then continue on there. Anyways, it looks like he's going to go straight for that drone, killing off that drone so that drone cannot scout. And it looks like there's a bunker in place, and it did manage to get up here in the natural of ButteryLlama, so we'll see how he responds to that. Looks like drones have been pulled off the line here. Going straight for that SV, very good call with that. Now he needs to take care of this bunker before the Reaper enters it. So once the Reaper enters it, these drones are going to be easy targets here, sitting ducks, and, well, you know, any Zerglings that pop off can kill it off, but I mean, it's going to be a second. It looks like he's just going to salvage it, now that 4 Zerglings are on the way as well. Again, this is a very large map. It is Typhon Peaks. Reapers and whatnot take a while to get there. You know, Zerglings take a while to get there, you know, if they're not fast Zerglings. You know, of course, Reapers don't have that plus speed that you need a factory for it now, so I mean, it does take a while to get that. So you don't generally see it, but anyways, looks like DoNtGiVeUp is going to be adding on a couple more barracks here and going to be expanding. He's not even gonna float it down, just going to build it right at the natural, which is not a bad call considering what's happening here. You know, at this point, Zerg can decide, okay, I'm going to attack in there, but what kind of Terran player expands this early? You know, it looks like, you know, since he's even scouting the front here with those Reapers, he knows how many drones are out, he knows what Zerg is doing, he doesn't see a ton of Zerglings, so he knows that there is no attack, so he can safely expand and all that good stuff. I think players don't really look at it like that, like, okay, how do you expand safely? Well, you throw down some aggression, you know, in some way. That's how you safely expand. That's why you see expanding paired with attacking, expanding paired with harassment, and all that good stuff. So, I mean, if you throw down some aggression, you know, then it's a much safer way to do it. Because, I mean, they have to do whatever they can to defend. You know, especially as Zerg, you have to do whatever you can to defend. And, you know, usually when you're defending, you're like, okay, I should crank out as many drones as possible while not dying. You're not really thinking about, okay, I need to go attack, and especially since he doesn't know that this expansion is even there. You know, he hasn't had time to scout it, because he's been preoccupied in his base defending whatnot, against these Reapers. So I mean, now he's finally coming out of his base to scout, going to be looking around, finding this Reaper. He does have the speed finished, and it looks like the bunker is just going to be finishing right at a very good time, right as the Zerglings get there. But well, now he knows that the expansion is up, so I believe Zerg is probably going to be expanding again. Yep, here's the hatchery going down at the natural third for Zerg, and ButteryLlama is going to be sitting pretty good here with that as well. Let's look at the unit counting tab. We do have 36 drones to 30 SCVs. It's not really like how Protoss is, where Protoss can chrono out a bunch of SCVs. And of course that second command center does help, but I mean it's not the same as a Protoss fast expand where they're able to just crank out a ton of probes and then you're just so behind economically. Zerg's doing alright on the drone count compared to SV count, but at the same time there are mules on the field, so I mean you have to worry about the extra economy he's getting from that. Let's see what kind of tech is he going. It looks like he's going to get a layer during all this, and Evolution Chamber and Baneling Nest. I'm not going to add on any gas quite yet. Actually added one on at his natural. Now this is something I would say is a better idea. People don't really think about it, but just adding one on at the natural instead of just adding one on right at the main. Now of course it shows that you are using gas, but at the same time it's like, okay, does he have 3 gas or does he have 2 gas? Is he going some high tech or is he going some low tech? You know, there's a lot of confusion there. So I mean, I would say it is a good call, but it does have its downside. So it's just kind of something you need to maybe think about when you're designing your strategy and saying, okay, do I want to put that gas down there or not? So anyways, he's going to get the rest of his gases now, just adding them on one by one while he techs up. Let's see, he's getting the burrow tech and the +1 melee attack for Zerglings and Banelings and all that good stuff. Meanwhile, it looks like Terran has gotten pretty much full tech. He does have air units out. No tech lab on that starport. Sorry, it's got like something in my, like some kind of food stuck in my teeth. I was getting out, but couple of medevacs coming out here now. He does have a lot of Marines out here. No +1 attack yet. He does have it on the way, but he's going to be doing some drops. It looks like 2 medevacs full of drops, which is very potent. Pretty much against anything, you know, even against Banelings, you can just lift off and say, hey, you're using Banelings. Okay, I'm just going to unload my Marines one by one. Your Banelings are going to explode on them, and it's not going to be very cost efficient. So anyways, looks like DoNtGiveUp is going to be expanding yet again, taking his third very aggressively, and Zerg, I'm not sure if he spotted it. Yeah, he doesn't know it's there, but he's just using Zerglings to do that. Meanwhile, there's that drop. Looks like it's happening at the natural third of ButteryLlama, and potentially be losing this hatchery. Look how fast that dies. That's just like, I don't know, that's just insane. Hatchery should not die that fast. They should have like 2 armor, or Marines should do less damage or something. But anyways, he's going to pick up, going to be going straight to the main, and Zerg really doesn't have a lot out here. I mean, does have a bunch of Zerglings, but I mean, against that many Marines, that's really not much. You know, you really got to spot this before it happens, and he's just not, you know, wasn't able to do that. So a couple of Marines being lost there, but he does have another medevac full of 6 Marines. And where's his other one? Okay, he has a couple more in the natural here, trying to split up the Zerglings. Now, of course, that does kind of force Zerg to produce extra Zerglings to defend it, just because medevacs do heal pretty fast, and when you have a Marine ball, it's kind of like, okay, if you split up your Zerglings, you might not have enough to actually deal with props, so you actually need more Zerglings to deal with it. Anyways, the medevac was picked off there by that Queen, the Marine there getting raped as well. Anyways, ButteryLlama sitting back with, well, it looks like 1 Baneling, and well, he's going to be forced to expand there, but that is a very nice play from Terran just to get it slightly ahead. Looks like Zerg, meanwhile, busted down the rocks, going in there with a couple of Zerglings, doing what kind of damage he could. I don't believe he actually got too many kills. I forget the hotkey for it. What is it? R? Yeah, workers killed, looks like 5 to 6. I don't know, 1 extra one from Terran, not really a big exchange there. Whoops. What did I want? I wanted... Oh, it's Control V. Alright, APM. APM looks pretty good for both players. I'd say that's a little bit kind of a spam. I mean, not really at this point in time, but I'd say, you know, a Zerg, it doesn't look like that high, but you don't really need really good APM to play Zerg if you have very good mechanics. And actually, ButteryLlama, you know, what he always says is, I have very good mechanics, but just have horrible strategic, you know, what I do strategic-wise, you know, I make so many mistakes. You know, but he, you know, I was watching his stream. I've been watching his stream quite a bit. He does make really good choices. I mean, he does make he's really good at macro. I mean, he's really good at mechanics. If you watch him, if you're trying to learn mechanics, I'd say watch him because he, and if you're a Zerg player, of course, watch him because he does have very incredible mechanics, and he actually does teach people. So I mean, you can check that out as well. Anyways, another drop happening in the third here, and well, all those Marines were accidentally killed off. Not a huge deal because Marines are basically free, but well, this medevac just gonna hang out apparently to scout. But Mutalisks are out in the field now. I did see the Spire going up. I didn't mention that, but I should have. But he's getting that fast +1 as well. So now that the Mutas are out, drops are going to be a lot harder to do as Terran. But at the same time, he is doing another drop at third for ButteryLlama, or at the excuse me, the fourth here for ButteryLlama. So seeing those Mutalisks come around to deal with that. Meanwhile, they're just picking off this other drop that looks like it's going straight from the main there. And well, ButteryLlama, yep, losing that fourth. Not a huge deal since he is taking a fifth, which is now his fourth, but as a Zerg player, you really got to keep up with the expansions. If you lose one, you got to like instantly make another one because otherwise, hatcheries are your production sites. They produce units. They also mine minerals. If you don't have them, you are gonna, you're gonna get a ton of money and you're not gonna have enough larvae to use it. So. I don't know, doing a good job of just keeping up with that. Meanwhile, it looks like Terran keeping a very good job just building SCVs as well. So let's look at the unit counting tab once again. Looks like 69 SCVs to 66 drones. Looking all right. I mean, Zerg could pump out some extra drones. I mean, he did kind of lose, that hatchery, and he lost the third and all that stuff, which set him back pretty significantly. But looks like he's going to be just fine for now. Looks like this rally is actually going all the way over there. So drones might be popping out and going over there. Yeah, it looks like, well, actually these guys must be mining from this position here while that hatchery is still going up. Meanwhile, there's another drop. Looks like Banelings are in the middle as well. ButteryLlama just doing a good job putting them out there. You want to definitely spread them out like he did and keep two in a bunch. If you don't, then one Baneling's not going to kill the whole army, or, not going to kill anything because it takes two, generally speaking. But you also spread them out in case there's a scan and all that good stuff, and in case they don't walk over the initial set. Anyways, there's a drop over here at the new fourth for Zerg, and well, all these drones are going to be in trouble, but he's throwing down a couple of creep tumors, or spine crawlers, not creep tumors, but Mutalisks have come to the rescue, and the rest of the Zergling fleets as well. And meanwhile, there's another drop in this position. He was probably hoping to just find another command center. Not going to. Just gonna apparently die to all these Zerglings since ButteryLlama just being very vigilant, keeping his guys around and what's not. Terran, meanwhile, taking another base, taking a fourth at this lower end position. He could bust down these rocks. Looks like he's not going to. Just give him a little bit easier access to defend it instead of going all the way around, because that would help him quite a bit since Zerglings are a lot faster. You can get over here and then you'd pretty much lose the command center, and then your army's still over here because that's your main. And whoa, okay, wow, he tripped a couple of Banelings there, but with that scan, it looks like he detected all the other ones, and well, it looks like all these Marines, or at least a few Marines that are left, are going to be picked off here, and these tanks are in a huge amount of trouble here because they are going to be picked off as well. There's too many Mutalisks and not enough Marines to deal with them, but he is, or I guess he's not getting the +2, but he does have the +1 armor, +1 attack on those Marines, so that does help out quite a bit against Mutalisks since they do have the bouncing attack. So armor is very good against bouncing attack and all that good stuff. Meanwhile, there are Mutalisks joining up here, and Terran is going to be losing all these tanks. That is a huge investment that he lost. He could have definitely packed him up and moved him back while these Marines were engaging those Mutalisks, but well, just not going to have it. Mutalisks now with the +1. Looks like he's not going to get the +2 yet. Just not being very vigilant with that. Meanwhile, there's another drop in the main here. Lots of Marines doing lots of damage to a lot of drones, but well, looks like he's not fast enough to pick up these. Well, he did pick him up now. I don't know, that's kind of a blunder. I feel like he might have done that on purpose to keep him there, but you definitely want to pick up and run away right away. I mean, as soon as you see Zerglings or Mutalisks, because I mean, the idea is you want to get free damage. You don't want to lose your drops every single time. Meanwhile, there's a couple more Banelings in the middle here. Actually, quite a few. Actually, just exploded on a couple of SVs there. Definitely a nice one. I don't know, I just look at the minimap so much, like that's one of the things I have the huge amount of trouble with. And meanwhile, there are Mutalisks at the third here for Terran, taking out all the SCVs. I totally missed it. But Marines have come to respawn, but there aren't a lot of Marines, but there is a Thor there. Thors are quite good against Mutalisks, unless you magic box them, and then the Mutalisks are pretty good against them as well. So, you gotta be careful of that. Meanwhile, there are Banelings and Zerglings wrapping around going for that Planetary Fortress. Now, Planetary Fortresses do have splash damage and can kill Zerglings pretty fast, that's why I use the Banelings. Meanwhile, there are some Mutalisks back in the main for of DoNtGiveUp, and well, they're going to do a lot of damage since he's splitting up all these, these Marines aren't fast enough to get up there to defend it. You really got to keep some units back there to defend all these different things, because I mean, with that many Mutalisks, missile turrets are going to be a huge. I mean, not going to be a huge problem for them. So I mean, you really need a bunch of Marines or something because I mean, Thors. If you magic box Mutas, Thors are not very good against them. Marines, they're decent against them, and well, Vikings are really bad